Come on. Oh, all right. There we go. Hello and welcome here to Tinkle Sports Talk. For a second there, my computer didn't say it was recording, so thankfully I didn't drop any explicitives or anything. Granted, we do that anyway on this show. Anyway, here we go. Coming up on the show today. I do apologize. I do have a cold. I promise you it's not COVID. So, anyway, we got some NFL news. Some big releases this week. We got our takeaways. And, of course, our Week 5 game predictions. That's all coming your way today. We're going to kind of keep this short. We probably won't have a tinkle on this for this week. Just because, again, we're trying to keep it short. It's late. We both got to be up early in the morning and whatnot. I don't know. We'll see if we can find something during the anchor break. Hopefully we'll have one. But starting off with some baseball news. The Red Sox and the Dodgers are moving on in the playoffs. They have both clinched a spot in the ALDS. I guess, what's your thoughts here on this? I mean, the Dodgers had 104 wins. Probably the most wins of any wild card I've ever seen.
That's crazy. I heard the Red Sox and the Yankees were a pretty close back and forth. Or, not really back and forth, but like a dogfight type of game.
Not from what I saw, but I just saw the scoreboard.
I don't know. I might have heard something totally different of what happened, but I heard that the Dodgers, I think, game was really good.
The Dodgers was
the
dogfight.
3-1 is what I heard.
Yeah, it was a walk-off. So maybe that's the one you're thinking of.
Oh, probably. It's alright. You know, I was barely paying attention on the radio.
Yeah, but it was a hell of a game. I gotta admit that from what I saw, that game was a hell of a game. And on any time the Yankees get eliminated, it's a great day around here. Okay. Anytime the Yankees buy their way into the postseason and they get knocked out, it's great. Okay, I don't care what anybody says on that front. And the Red Sox deserve to be there because the Red Sox, quite frankly, were leading, I think, like 60% of the way this whole year. They were leading their division up till Tampa started catching fire. So they rightfully deserve to be there, whereas the Yankees were battling with the Blue Jays all year. Quite frankly, you could make an argument that the Blue Jays deserve to be there over the Yankees. But I don't know. You can't really argue it this season as much as you could last season, because last season was only 60 games. This season was the full 162, maybe a couple games skipped. I don't recall, but 162 games in baseball, I don't think you can dispute that argument as much as you could last year. So,
right.
Needless to say, so it is Dodgers versus Giants. So, divisional matchups after these wild card games. Dodgers and Giants. Then you've got the Red Sox and the Tampa Bay Rays. So, Jason, who are you taking in that? Sorry, I had a text from my manager. What's going on? All right.
I don't know. I mean, San Fran has been looking good. The Dodgers, of course, are the current. I think they're the current World Series champs. Dodgers.
Yeah.
If I'm taking anybody to advance, I'm probably saying the Dodgers and the Boston Red Sox. I think that'll be the ALCS. Dodgers and Sox.
Well, you
probably
mean
the Dodgers back in the World Series.
You mean the Dodgers going to the NLCS and then the Red Sox going to the ALCS. So, yeah. I'm not going to lie. I think these two matchups are both going to be 5 games apiece right here. Keep in mind, it is a best-of-5 series. So, honestly, I could see Sox and Rays going 5 games. I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Rays in that. I almost want to say Jays. I keep looking at it and I keep thinking it says Jays. You can tell how little sleep I've gotten. Honestly, the Giants look better than I've ever seen them, but I'm going to take the Dodgers, like you said. I think the Dodgers have the best shot at this, so I guess we'll see what happens. Keep in mind the MLB postseason just got kicked off not too long ago. The Rays are actually up 4-0 right now, as we're recording. And then the Houston Astros banged trash cans on the way to victory again. They won 6-1 over the Chicago White Sox. And just to clarify, I don't know for sure if they banged trash cans this time around, but I think it speaks for itself. They're a bunch of cheaters, so...
Right.
Anyway, let's move forward here. Big news in the NFL this week. 2 releases we did not see coming. Stefan Gilmore. First off, I didn't even know Stefan Gilmore was still playing because he has been absolutely nowhere to be found. There's been hardly any news on him up till this week. And then for Jalen Smith, I mean, again, 2 very, very shocking transactions this week. They were both... Well, Gilmore was, quote-unquote, released, according to Adam Schefter. Then 2 hours later, they said, oh, never mind, he was dealt to the Carolina Panthers for a 6th-round pick. So, I don't know what to believe.
Right. I don't know either. Apparently, the Green Bay Packers were trying to get both players. They were trying to get Stefan Gilmore, but apparently... cap situations were the reason why he didn't get dealt to the Green Bay Packers to begin with.
I noticed that Devontae Adams did his best recruitment job. So I got to give a round of applause to Devontae Adams because he was on Instagram like DMing these guys saying message me. So
at least he got one of the players, and I think he got the better one.
He got the one.
I think Jalen Smith is the one that can really help that, bulk up that linebacker core. Yes, Stefan Gilmore hasn't really been that great. I mean, he's also a former Defensive Player of the Year, even though... Again, I think it should have been Tre'Davious White because he was better that year, but I digress. But at least Jalen Smith is there in Green Bay. Stefan Gilmore, I think, is somebody that will help mentor J.C. Horn into being a really good shutdown corner.
Yeah.
And like I was telling Brian before we started recording, I really do think that the Panthers, in a few years... J.C. Horn can really develop into a great shutdown corner. And I'm not saying that he already hasn't gotten to that point, but I really do think the Panthers have a pretty good, solid defense a hold of them. Gilmore is still entering his prime. I mean, I think he's close to his 30s, if not 30 already. But I do think that the Panthers are good there. Packers... it would have been nice to have both players. I get the reason, they probably don't have a whole lot of cap space with all the guys that they have right now.
Oh, yeah.
But at least Devontae Adams making that push to try to get both, if not just one. I mean, still better than nothing. But, I don't know what you think.
Here's the thing. I talked about how Melvin Ingram... Despite not playing much last year, he had a big impact on the Chargers defense. He's been that leader for so many years, and I'm shocked he, quite frankly, hasn't had much of an impact on the Steelers this year. I think that's shocking because when I watched him on Hard Knocks, he was like helping out all these players, teaching them secrets that he knew. I just wonder, maybe will Gilmore play that kind of role in Carolina where he might not be the star of that defense, but he will certainly be that mentor, that captain-like figure. I I just don't know. But again, this defense, here's the thing. Carolina is probably going to finish second in their division. I think that's a safe argument to make. And it'll be close. It'll be close between them and the Saints, but but as far as Jalen Smith, he's finally going to get coached by a real coach in Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
This is a team that's they've needed some improvement on their defense. Let's face it, everybody could use a little improvement. That's the way I coach.
Right.
By the way, National Coaches Day was the other day. Just wanted to throw that out there on a side note. But anyway, so ultimately I believe Jalen Smith will have the bigger impact. And this could give him the edge.
Right.
I mean, let's face it, I don't have Green Bay anywhere in the running for the NFC Championship right now. I'm just going to be clear there. We'll talk about it more after our Week 5 or our Week 4 recap. But
right
now, my eyes aren't on Green Bay quite yet. They still haven't proven enough to me. Anyway, I guess we can.
Either.
Yeah, but maybe Jalen Smith will change that. We'll see. But I guess that's a good lead up to our Week 4 recap here. I guess I'll start it off this time. Just because I let Jason start it off the last few times here. So, I guess point number 1, I don't want to jinx anything. I just want to be clear. I'm happy with how my team is playing. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm not that Chargers fan that jumps the gun. I'm not that fan in general that jumps the gun and says we're going to the Super Bowl. But maybe, just maybe, could the Chargers be that dark horse team to get there? Justin Herbert, there's no sophomore slump there right now. He is playing almost lights out. He is having himself a hell of a year right now. I believe he's had 10 games with 3 touchdowns or more so far.
Right.
Not to mention, he carved apart that Raiders defense like a turkey on Thanksgiving. He ate them alive, and quite frankly, that game should have gotten way out of hand early on. Okay, I mean, that game should have been 35-3, the way they were playing. So, but again, that's the Raiders. I called that meltdown, so, I still think it's early. I think the Browns are they beat the Chiefs. That's the other thing. The Chiefs, for all intents and purposes, are the team that is expected to run it back. Now, the Browns are their next big challenge. Now, they don't play the Bills this year. So, ultimately, they don't get the trifecta effect there. But I will say that I think if they beat the Browns this weekend, I think you can put them in that category as a dark horse in this AFC.
I don't know. I don't think the Browns are as good as everybody thinks that they are this year, and that's just me.
See, but the Browns could be 4-0 right now, and they very well should be. That's an argument you can make because,
True.
Let's face it, they should have beaten the Chiefs if it wasn't for the botched punt. I imagine they would have won that game. Now, the Chiefs should be 1-3. Okay.
Right. I know. They really should be
on the same end of it, and they may have we could argue after this week they should have been 1-4. So, I mean, there's arguments.
I'm not saying anything about that game. I'm really not.
I'm not yet, but I'm just saying we could make that argument because they have not looked Chief-esque yet.
Because all I'm gonna say this now is the last time I thought I got way too cocky about my team and the Chiefs, I got burned. I really did get burned. It still sits to my heart. I'm as a Bills fan. eats me alive to think,
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football. Same place that we had the AFC Championship game, and just, I don't know, it just,
Yeah.
eats you away. But I guess we'll just go on
All right. Yeah, so...
with your second point
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Second point here. So, Cardinals and Rams, I think if this was any indication now, let me go back a week. Let me take a look at the score. Let me tell you, this game, if it wasn't for Tampa and New England, this game could have very well been the Sunday night game. I'm going to tell you, it might have been a 37-20 beatdown that the Cardinals gave them, but this is going to be all-out nuclear warfare this year between the Cardinals and the Rams.
I think so.
I would not, you can argue that the Cardinals haven't played any meaningful team up till this point, but let's face it, Kyler Murray is, without a doubt, the top quarterback right now in the NFL. He is the front runner for the MVP.
Right.
Everyone, I was talking with the guy today. He was comparing him to Lamar Jackson. This is nothing compared to Lamar Jackson. Okay, Kyler Murray has an arm. I'm telling you, he is poised for a breakout year, and it will be this year, I think. I would not be shocked if it comes down to these two teams for the NFC Championship.
Honestly, he kind of reminds me of Russell Wilson when he was first entering the league.
Yeah.
I mean, Russell Wilson's kind of shipped off ever since that Super Bowl win. But he reminds me of like the Russell Wilson when he first entered the league. Like, really good passer.
Yeah.
Just was so dominant. Now he's kind of he's a father now. Father time's kind of like playing that factor into Russell Wilson not really being as good as he once was.
But let's compare.
Kyler Murray's kind of like that better version of Russell Wilson. The Russell Wilson like that we should have right now, I feel like, is how Kyler Murray is. Not just because I'm saying they have the same size, structure, and whatnot. I'm just saying, like, if you look at like how they are running wise, and then passing the ball down the field and stuff like that, they have. I want to say Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson probably had the most NFL comparison right now than anybody else. Like, it's so scary how similar of players they are right now, honestly.
But I was going to say real quick, let us compare the year that Russell Wilson won the Super Bowl versus the Cardinals this year. Let's make the argument here that Russell Wilson never had a top 5 receiver in the NFL in front of him, okay? He never had a top 5. I mean, let's face it, Baldwin was a decent one. Lockett's pretty good. Metcalf is a rising star, but he's not... I would say he's honorable mention to the top 5. So...
I know. I guess the argument could be, like, during that time, it was mostly that Seattle defense that really got them
but it wasn't
to where
just
they are.
that. It's kind of
like Arizona Cardinals are more so, like, off of their powerful offense. Don't get me wrong, they do have a good defense, but
see,
still.
The Cardinals are better built all around because Edmonds is a decent running back. They've got James Conner, who's proven that he can be a reliable backup. Okay,
right.
Let's face it. When it was Seattle back in the day, it was more of a running team at that time because, let's face it, you were on the 1-yard line, except in the Super Bowl. You handed it off to Marshawn Lynch. Sorry, Seattle fans, but let's face it, there's the difference, is that Arizona is more pass-heavy, and they have the better passing offense than Seattle had in their Super Bowl run. So, I think we can argue that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good valid argument.
I mean, Seattle then was a little more ground and pound. So,
yeah.
But anyway, I'll move on to my third point here. Bill Belichick is just an average coach without Tom Brady. I may be just Captain Obvious with this final point, but I think Sunday night proved it. We expected, I said don't be surprised if Tom Brady gets exposed. And guess what? Tom Brady essentially played checkers against, or chess against Bill Belichick, who played checkers. Okay. Mac Jones was impressive. It was a good game, don't get me wrong. But let's face it, Tom Brady is smarter than Bill Belichick, and he has Bill Belichick to thank for that. Okay, let me be clear here. Bill Belichick made Tom Brady, for all intents and purposes, just as Tom Brady made Bill Belichick.
Right.
Okay, you can argue whatever you want, but let's face it, if Tom Brady was on any other NFL roster in 2001, he wouldn't be the star that he is today. No one would have pegged him to be the star.
No, not at all.
Okay? He'd be
because what they were basically saying is that he was way too skinny. He just didn't have that build of the NFL quarterback.
See, he'd
of
probably
course,
be...
backtrack to now 2021. Are we saying the same thing now? Hell no.
Could we argue that he could be playing baseball if it wasn't for Bill Belichick? Because keep in mind, Tom Brady did get drafted to baseball initially.
Crazy.
I'm just saying, I don't think Tom Brady... Here's the thing, I'm not saying Tom Brady couldn't be a great quarterback if it wasn't for Belichick back in 2001. What I am saying is that I don't think he would be near the caliber that he is today. And let's face it, Tom Brady is like a fine wine. The more he ages, the better he gets. Okay? And Belichick spent the last few years trying everything he could to make him look bad. Well, guess what? You failed, bud. Okay, you failed miserably. So,
yeah.
Again,
yeah, you did.
They both made each other. I think that's a safe argument. I'm not saying Mac Jones won't be the next. He won't be anywhere near Tom Brady. But he could very well be the next superstar in this league. And again, I've said it from the beginning. I'm going to say it now. And hopefully, at the end of the season, I'll be saying the exact same thing. So, those are my points for this week.
Alright, going on to mine. Again, Buffalo pitched out the second shutout in 3 weeks. Yes, the argument can be, well, they played up against the Dolphins, they played up against the Houston Texans. If you backtracked, if it was a healthy Tua and there was a Tyrod Taylor, do you think that would have been a hell of a lot more impressive? Yeah, I think so. They did push up that shutout against Tua. Tua got hurt. Sorry. It was probably Matt Milano, or actually it was I think it was somebody young. I think it was Gregory Rousseau that injured Tua, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Houston, I give Davis Mills a hell of a lot more credit. It's already tough. You go in there, it's rainy conditions. So a lot of that could have been played into factor. But to knock up 40 points against a rookie quarterback and just rock his day when you have one of the best underrated receivers and made his day really, really low. I will say Buffalo's defense has really been taking out these top receivers as of late this year. Terry McLaurin did not have a 100-yard passing game against Buffalo. Took him out of the game. Brandon Cooks took him out of the game. If I know anything about Buffalo this year, they're usually good about taking out the top receiver. The problem I have with them going into Sunday Night Football is just you have way too much talent on that team to take out everybody. Yeah. Doesn't mean, it could happen. And I'm going to go into my second point here. I think that Zach Moss is showing that he's better than Singletary. Singletary has had fumbling problems. He's got 4 fumbles in 4 games. That means he's averaging 1 fumble every single game.
Thank you for that, Booger McFarland. Nah. I'm sorry. I
know. I think Zach Moss is in the plans to be the lead back in this game. If not going forward, I think Singletary makes for a better backup. What I want to see happen more is you have you have another running back. I get it. Moss and Singletary are the lead backs, and then you have Breida there as kind of like that, third back if you want to use him. If Buffalo wants to play it smart, I think I would move up the draft the depth chart. Kind of has Singletary backtrack to being like the third back, and then tell him, hey, if you wanted to be back into that starting role or that backup, prove it to us that you can hang on to the ball, type of thing. Moss has been showing that he is a power back. He's been very consistent. I think this is his second year as a running back. Yeah, Singletary. This is Singletary's third year. Even though he's got a career best 5.3 yards per carry. But Moss is showing that he's the better one. He's got the most touchdowns of any back on that Bills team right now. So, I honestly would be totally fine. I think Buffalo really should try to confuse Kansas City Chiefs defense as much as possible. Even though we said it along, they don't have the best defense. Well, this year, they certainly don't. Apparently, they have the 31st, almost second to last in defense.
The Chiefs?
The Russian defense is not that great. So, I really do think if Buffalo is going to win this game against the Chiefs, their offense is going to have to show out.
It's going to come down to who has the ball last and who gets the lead last. Ultimately, I know that's another booger quote, but it's true.
I just think that Buffalo's defense is really going to show why they are the top defense in the NFL, and I'm really hoping that this offense, I'm hoping they can get into the red zone and not put up field goals, put up touchdowns.
Yep.
Texans defense has really showed out.
But that's another thing. Be aggressive, okay? If you're at 4th and 1,
aggressive.
I'm sorry, 4th and 1, you got to go for it. Keep the Chiefs' offense off the field.
Don't be too aggressive.
Yeah.
Don't always be showing blitz all the time.
No, don't even show blitz, period. Okay, Patrick Mahomes has burned people for going blitz on him.
Right.
Okay.
I think they need to play as much zone and man-to-man as much as possible.
You can't go man on Tyreek Hill, though. Okay, you will. That's just a suicide move to begin with.
Like I said, I think they need to disguise coverages, and I really do think that Leslie Frazier is proving that he is one hell of a defensive coordinator this year.
This kind of game,
that man.
Let me just point out, this kind of game and this kind of moment separate the men from the boys. And for Leslie Frazier, this is a game that could separate him in the coaching search. Because boy, if you can shut down Patrick Mahomes, you deserve to be interviewed for a head coaching position. I would even argue that for Todd Bowles. Okay, Todd Bowles might not have a secondary right now, but let's face it, he's still the guy in charge of probably a top 5 defense in the NFL when healthy. Keep in mind, This is a team that's battled injuries all year in Tampa, so I just want to throw that out there. But all right.
Now, this is interesting. You would think that it would be Stefan Diggs that would be doing very well in the NFL, but right now, his younger brother, Trayvon Diggs, is currently leading the NFL in interceptions this year, and he is showcasing that he is one hell of a shutdown. I think he's a safety, if not a corner. I can't remember. But do not throw it to Trayvon Diggs' direction, because 100%, like 10 out of 10, it's going to be a pick.
Let me put it this way. We've mocked the Cowboys defense for the last year, maybe 2 years. He is a bright spot. He is a shining star on a defense that is legitimately a joke.
Right.
So
I really do think that he's the main reason why they're 3-1 right now.
I could argue the same, because you put him on your top receiver, That's asking for trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, he burned us, and I was so mad watching that game because he took us apart.
I don't know what it is about these Diggs boys, but man, they are just bred different. They are bred differently. They really are. And then it goes into my last point here. Mac Jones showed out against the GOAT. I really do think that game proved that Bill Belichick might have made the right decision going forward. Mac Jones finally showcased he can go toe-to-toe with the greatest of all time.
Yep. Here's the thing, Mac Jones...
It means good things for Mac Jones going forward. Of course, he's still trying to figure out things. He's a rookie quarterback. I think he'll get it. I mean, look at what Tom Brady did when he first entered the league. He was so-so. Mac Jones, so-so.
Peyton Manning
I really
threw the
think
most
that Mac
picks of
Jones
any
is
rookie.
showcasing that he's going to lead a path. Kind of like Brady, but it might still be too early to tell.
Yeah, Peyton Manning threw the most picks out of any rookie ever. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Look where he ended up.
Yep. So don't write off. You know, I don't think you can even write out Trevor Lawrence just yet. So let me just say that I don't think you can write him out yet, but I do think, like we said earlier this year, Mac Jones is set up for the most long-term success.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think it's showing here.
In that game, he definitely proved it.
Yeah. So, anyway, that'll lead us into our break here. When we come back, we'll have our Week 5 predictions. And I think I actually got the perfect story for Tinkle on this. We're going to talk about that during the break. But in the meantime, we'll be back in just a moment. All right, welcome back. Let's start off with the first game of Sunday. And keep in mind, Sunday is going to be an all-day affair, so you better have your alarm set on Sunday morning because it'll be the Jets and the Falcons in London at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which I believe is the old Wembley Stadium, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Atlanta is a 2.5-point favorite. Who do you take here?
I don't know how I feel about Atlanta. I think the Jets proved that they might just be the underdog team. Yeah. I'm going to have to go with the Jets over Atlanta here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Jets. Falcons are going to be without Ridley, and I believe their second receiver because of personal reasons. I won't dive into that. Obviously, we just want to get these picks out. Anyway, Packers, Bengals, Packers 3-point favorites.
I'm actually going to make this weird thing. I'm going to go Cincinnati over Green Bay here.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Cincy is good, and I think they're going to take them down to the end. But I'm going to say Packers by 3. I'm going to say Packers by the line, which is 3 right now. Anyway, Lions and Vikings. Vikings a 10-point favorite.
Yeah, Vikings.
Yeah. No dispute there. Here we go. Probably equal teams right here with the next game. Broncos and Steelers. So this one might be a little harder to predict. It is an even line, by the way.
I think I'm going to go Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh is going to bounce back after losing 3 games in a row. I think Denver kind of got exposed by an actual legit team. So I think Pittsburgh is going to get it right and actually win against Denver.
I know nothing about Teddy Bridgewater's injury. Sorry to talk over you there. I know nothing about Teddy Bridgewater's injury, but I do know one thing. Their defense is pretty banged up right now, so I'm going to go with the Steelers. They'll get their first win at home this year. Dolphins and Bucks. Bucks are 10-point favorites. I think we know who we're both picking here.
Yeah, Brissett's going to get exposed by his former mentor. That's what's going to happen.
Yep.
So, on Bucks over Miami.
Bucks, but I think Brissett will have a decent game because, again, that secondary for the Bucks is hurting right now. So, I will say it'll be a decent game. If you have Gesicki on your fantasy team, maybe a week you want to start him. So, I'm just throwing that out there. Saints and the football team, the Saints are 2-point favorites.
I don't like that. I mean, I'm sorry. The Saints are just not that good this year. You can't tell me differently. Them losing the Giants just... I really do think that they're going to struggle against that division this year. I'm going to go with Washington. I think Taylor Heineke is going to have another one of those amazing games. And I think Washington is going to win over New Orleans, honestly. That's what I'm just going to go with.
I think the key to the game is going to be containing Terry McLaurin. Now, you do take Logan Thomas out of the game because he's on the IR. But again, I'm going to lean with you with Washington here. I think they will win probably by at least a point or two. I think it'll be a close one. Anyway, Eagles and Panthers. And can I just say that the Eagles probably... How good the Eagles are, it doesn't reflect in their record, I don't think. So... 3-point favorites for Carolina. Again, McCaffrey, questionable in this game. I imagine he won't have much of an impact.
This was a tough one. I mean, Philadelphia did take Kansas City toe-to-toe before Kansas City just walked all over them in the second half. I'm going to go Philadelphia. I think Carolina... I mean, of course, Stefan Gilmore ain't going to play in that game because he just got... dealt to Carolina.
Yeah. If he does, it'll be limited.
He'll be there clearly next week. But I'm gonna go with Philadelphia over Carolina here.
Actually, he can't play. I forgot he's on PUP, so he is out till at least week 6 or week 7. So he will not be playing. You're correct. So honestly, the Eagles have gone toe to toe with every team they played this year. With that said, McCaffrey's going to be the deal. He's going to be the guy that is the deal breaker at the end of the day. If he plays, I go Carolina. But honestly, even if he plays, I don't think he's going to play much. So I'm going to lean toward the Eagles here. Anyway, Titans, Jags. Do we even have to make a pick here? Although I said that last week about the Titans and the Jets.
Right.
Titans 4.5, by the way.
You know what? I'm going to throw this out. I think Trevor Lawrence has finally got it, understood after losing 4 games in a row. I think he's going to finally get his first win as a starter. I say he's going to win it against Tennessee because Tennessee got exposed big time against the Jets. So I really do think that Jacksonville is going to come out, and I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have himself a game. So I'm going to go Jacksonville over Tennessee, to be honest.
Yep. I'm going to go Tennessee here. I just, something tells me that they will not lose a second game to another mediocre team. So that much I will say. Anyway, Patriots, Texans, New England 9-point favorites. I think we both know what direction we're going here.
Oh, yeah. New England.
Yeah. New England, and it won't even be close. Bears and Raiders. Keep in mind the Bears now have a new QB1, and it is the Ohio State's Justin Fields. But Las Vegas with the 5.5 favorite.
Why am I not... Did you skip ahead? Oh, are we going into the 4 o'clock games?
Yeah, now we're into the 4 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
That was all the
Sorry.
1 o'clocks.
I'm not paying hardly any attention.
No, it's all good.
Justin Fields, I don't know, man. He's a stocky guy. I mean, he was the one that helped win those 2 games. So, but honestly, I hate to say it, he's still iffy. I'm gonna go with the Vegas Raiders here against Justin Fields and the Bears.
Let's be fair here. Oakland is not a first half team. It has shown all year they have been a lousy first half team. And let's face it, the Raiders shot themselves in the foot last week by allowing that end of the half touchdown to the Chargers. I don't think that's going to happen here. I could see the Raiders winning this game. They're not going to lose back-to-back, especially against the Bears.
Right.
Here we go. This might be the game of the week. I think we can make that argument here. Well, the second game of the week. I'm sorry, I forgot about Sunday night. Browns and Chargers. Chargers are favorited by 2 points.
Ooh. This one's a tough one. I mean, Justin Herbert has been playing lights out, but he's also having a deal. He also is going to have to deal with Myles Garrett, who has been tearing up opposing offenses this year. So, as much as I would love to see the Chargers, I'm going to have to go with the Browns here.
I'm going to agree with you here.
I really do think that Myles Garrett is going to make Justin Herbert's day a living nightmare.
You know what? We have a little bit of time, so I'm going to try to make this quick. I'm going with the Browns, but I will say that Justin Herbert has torn apart some pretty decent defenses. He has thrown the ball into spaces that no one else could get the ball in. And on top of it, the Chargers defense has held any good offense to under the amount of points that they usually score on average. So I will say the Chargers will not make this an easy game. Browns are going to win by 3. That's what I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And if anything's going to blow up for the Chargers, it'll be kicking. That much I will say. Giants and Cowboys. Dallas is a 7-point favorite.
Yeah, I hate to say it. I'm going with Dallas.
Dallas.
The Giants got that lucky win against the Saints, but I just don't. I just think Dallas is just got it going right now. I think Dallas is gonna.
I wouldn't call it
win against their division rival here.
I wouldn't call it lucky, but I would say it was very telling about Daniel Jones in that game. I think it shows Daniel Jones has promise, and honestly, again, we talked last week about quarterbacks that could benefit from a change of scenery. Maybe he's that guy, maybe he's not. But I will say this is not the game that he's going to prove anything. Dallas is going to win.
It's hard to believe to think that Dallas could win 4 games in a row here. It's kind of crazy. And there's even room to argue that they could be 4-0 right now. Honestly, it's kind of hard to think.
Well, I mean, they should be 3-1. Let's face it. I mean, I'm still gonna argue my team should have beat them, but I digress from that.
Right.
Anyway, 49ers and Cardinals. I believe Trey Lance is getting the start, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he is.
So
Garoppolo
to be
is
honest,
hurt again. Does not look good for him and for his future. I hate to say it.
Yeah, to be honest, Arizona's a 5-point favorite, but I think they're going to be favorited by a lot more based on how badly they beat down LA last week. So, I don't know. What's your pick
Arizona's going to stay undefeated here.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take a while before Trey Lance will get it going. But can we just talk about how almost every single rookie quarterback that was drafted in the first round is starting right now? Like, that is just mind-blowing.
And a lot of them are struggling.
The first time in history, too.
Yeah.
That just about every single rookie quarterback that was drafted in the first round is starting.
Yeah. So, I know, it's unbelievable.
Insane.
I will say,
unheard of.
Yeah, I will say that Trey Lance will probably have a decent game. I don't imagine he will get higher than 200 yards total, but he'll have a decent game. He'll show why he was a first-round pick. But I'm going to go Cardinals here. I do say that DeAndre Hopkins will have a big game. Him and Christian Kirk. I'm hoping Christian Kirk has a big game.
I mean, can we say that AJ Green has also been a benefactor of that offense too? I mean, he's not like the AJ Green of the past, but he's still helps out in that offense.
Exactly. Anyway, here we go. Sunday Night Football, Bills, Chiefs. Chiefs are 2.5-point favorites. I think we've already discussed our picks on that.
I think I said something about them being like a 3-point favorite.
Yeah.
It's going to be close. I think this time it's going to be a hell of a lot closer than it was for the AFC Championship game. Buffalo, I think, made the great improvements in the offseason to go toe-and-toe with any kind of team this year. Kansas City, 2-2, not, really the best-looking team that was in the Super Bowl last year. But I'm going to go Kansas City, but don't be shocked if Buffalo does them out in this game. But I'm still going Kansas City. I'm going to have to go against my team here. So they can beat Kansas City, then I'll, come out here and be like, well, I guess I was wrong. But till that happens, I'm not, my lips are shut. I'm not saying anything. I'm going Kansas City all the way until proven otherwise.
Yeah, I'm going to go Kansas City too. See, I want to go with the Bills so bad. I am going to be rooting for them. I want to be clear, but to be honest, the Chiefs aren't going to go 1-2 to start the season at home. That I just don't see happening. It's, now if this game was in Buffalo, I would give an advantage to the Bills.
I think I would definitely have given it.
See, I think this is the kind of matchup that benefits the home team, and the Chiefs are the home team. So, I mean, Bills Mafia, if this was in Buffalo, I would say the Chiefs are going to be struggling. But, again, Chiefs all the way. I imagine this will not be a highly rated Monday Night Football game. Colts Ravens, Baltimore 7-point favorites.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the Ravens, and I don't have to explain myself.
Yeah, same here. I will say that the Colts are starting to get it together, but this is not the game that they're going to prove that.
No.
So, anyway, let's get on to Tinkle on this. I didn't edit it in the document, but this may take it just a tad too far. So, anyway, Urban Meyer, after that loss, he was caught grinding himself on another woman that wasn't his wife. Needless to say, his wife has just left Twitter, and Adam Schefter confirmed it. So, not a good look for Urban Meyer, man. You know what's funny? Louisville basketball just called you, and they want you to coach them next year, bud. Because Louisville basketball knows a thing or two about hookers, okay? So, this is the second straight show I've hosted.
Yeah, so Urban Meyer.
Yeah, Tinkle on this, Urban Meyer.
Tinkle on this.
How did you not think cameras were going to spot you? But can I just say real quick, this is the second show. This is the second show where I've crossed the line this week. I did so on Out of Turn 4, which is remarkable that I didn't get suspended after that. Thankfully, Zach found it just as ironic as I did. But, man, we're really pushing the lines here. You may be taking over the show with Marty if I keep going on this rate about hookers and whatnot.
Apparently... how much time do we have? Enough time?
We have a small bit of time.
About a little bit of Urban. All right, I'll try to go as quick as possible. Apparently, I don't know how true this is, but because of those actions, apparently the Jags are trying as much as they can to find a way to terminate his contract.
Yeah, which they should.
So it doesn't look very promising for Urban Meyer in this. In like 4 games into his first year in the NFL. So,
yep.
You know what this reminds me of? Doesn't this not kind of remind you of Mike McCarthy with Green Bay towards the end of his career? That kind of what it reminds me of a little bit.
A little. I mean, to be honest, like
he was barely there for team meetings. He just didn't care about the team. Him and Rodgers were at ends before they ended up getting, Matt LaFleur. So this kind of seems like Urban Meyer just doesn't care about the Jags. He only cares about himself. He's going to go out and do what he wants to. And if it means, if they literally go this year 0-17, you got to fire his ass. I'm sorry.
The only thing more controversial than Urban Meyer coaching this team would have been if Steve Sarkisian was coaching this team. Okay? And for those who don't know about Steve Sarkisian, he was drinking on campus and basically getting drunk all the time. I believe he's a well-known alcoholic, or a full-blown alcoholic. That much I will say. The only thing that would have been more controversial is if he did it. If you were going to hire any college head coach, you should have hired Jim Harbaugh. Okay?
Right.
I'm sorry. Like, that's a gimme right there that Jim Harbaugh should have been hired.
Right,
But
exactly.
otherwise, you should have gone Eric Bieniemy. And, Bieniemy does deserve his chance. I'm thinking he's going to get it at USC, although now, after all this, I'm hearing rumors that Urban Meyer might take the USC job. So this could get wild. This job is going to be a very coveted one, and one that's going to bear watching over the coming weeks. So
I wouldn't be shocked if during the middle of the season that Urban Meyer gets fired.
yeah,
And then they have to go with like an assistant head coach for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And then, maybe just then, they'll start their winning ways because that's just how NFL works. But
At that point,
again,
you should have kept Doug Marrone. But hey, you live and you learn. Anyway, I think that's all we got for this week. So we want to thank you all for watching. I'll see you on Tuesday. Jason will probably see you on Wednesday. Otherwise, we'll see you back here next Sunday. Right?
exactly.
So, anyway, until then, guys, goodbye, everyone.